Well, saddle up your horses and let's get this show rolling, man. What's happening, folks? What's happening? How we doing all across the world today? It is Wisdom Wednesdays, guys. Good grief. I told you, look, I'm going to get this whole theme. I'm going to get all the themes for each day down packed so we don't have any confusion, guys. Yes, as you see here on the screen, I am joined here with a guest, my buddy Snail. You guys remember Snail, the recession guy? Gave us some real valuable information pertaining to the markets and where the future of the economy is headed. Yes, Snail, we want to thank you for that. Certainly, man. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, Snail. I'm doing well, man. Just
Started my
really,
diet
really.
today.
You did what?
I started a diet today.
Oh gosh.
Healthy eating.
Well, Snail. Hey, look. Continued success and good luck with that, man. I really hope that works out for you. Because I've started like 3 different diets all within the past month, and they've all just you know. I think it's just lack of discipline on my part. Seriously, I think I'm just not being, I'm not really committing myself, and that's another story, Snail. I don't want to, I don't want to come off as a beta male, but that's just how it is, man. But guys, first one in the chat, you already know. First one in the chat, you get a shout out. I got my man Lee in the house. What's up, Lee? Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, man. Kathy, how are you? Kathy, how are you? Mackenzie, what's happening? What's up to you, bro? What's up, bro? What's up? How are you? Just me. How are you? How are you guys? Like the video. As soon as you enter the room, like the video. Again, it helps with the algorithm, triggers the algorithm, gets the content out there circulating. Appreciate you. Kathy says, hello, Snail. I think she spelled your name wrong there, Snail.
Hey, it's fine. Yeah,
so it's actually spelled Snell. Is that right, Snail? Right?
It is.
Joshua
It is.
Snail. Yeah.
But I won't. I'll take any acknowledgement I can get.
Yeah, he's Snail's begging for some adoration, guys. So let's just show him some love, all right?
Okay, I'm not going that
far. But no, he's a good guy.
Me and Neil disagree on a few topics tonight.
Yeah. So the reason why I have Snail up on here, guys, because prior to me formatting the show for this broadcast for tonight, I decided to call my buddy Snail and kind of, just kind of give him a little brief synopsis about what I wanted to talk about. And he's like, "Oh man, you're spinning a narrative, man. It's not, I think it's something deeper happening there." And I said, "Snail, look, I'm simply trying to present to the audience that there is a new voter block emerging. As to why, I think that therein lies our disagreement. Why is this happening? Why do we see more single women than ever before in recorded history voting in exponential numbers?" Real quick, guys, I want to show you guys this chart real quick, and then I'm gonna allow Mr. Snail here to state his premise. Hold up one second there. Where you at? Oh, there it is. So, guys, in our last election cycle, we did not see a red wave, right? We saw, if anything, we saw a red trickle, like a. It wasn't what we anticipated, unfortunately. And I think we had some disagreement there too, don't we, Snail, as to why that occurred, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, I think we could definitely go down that.
Yeah, we got time. If we got time, we'll go into it. But for purposes of tonight's broadcast, so we'll try to stay on topic. So, right here, guys, what you see in the last election cycle. Snell, can you see that?
I can.
So, in the last election cycle, for the Democrats, 39% of married men voted for the Democrats. 42% of women voted for the Democrats. 45% of unmarried men, which that's pretty significant there. But this is what I really want you guys to pay attention to. Look at this number right here. 68% of unmarried women voted for Democrats. 68% of unmarried women voted for Democrats. Why is that happening? How did this occur? How did we somehow develop or form a voter block that's comprised of primarily unmarried women voting at such staggering rates for bigger government. How do we do that? How do we get to this point in history? Now, I think, Snell, this is where we disagree. So I'm going to allow you to state your premise, and then he's got some
Okay, so you
information he's going to present, and I'm going to present some information as well. So go ahead, Snell.
okay, so first I would point you to the variance between married men. No, keep that chart up.
Oh, keep it up. Okay.
Yep. I'd point you to the variance between married men voting Democrats and unmarried men, and married women voting Democrat versus unmarried women. Okay. On the unmarried population, okay, vote Democrat.
Mm.
Married men, 39%, unmarried men, 45%. Married
Okay.
women, 42%, unmarried women, 68%.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to tell you why um, that it's more unmarried women that vote Democrat than unmarried men. Okay. Most of your social programs that come from the government, okay,
Mm.
help women more than men. Very rarely do men get child support or spousal support or anything like that.
Yep.
If you're a single man, okay, you're still, generally speaking, you're voting Republican, 52%, got it. But more unmarried men are voting Democrat because the Democrats are also starting to push more into like supporting anybody, not just women.
Mm.
They want a
So
weaker
like soft, like
population.
soft, like almost soft, a soft form of socialism. Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. The reason you have a greater disparity between unmarried women is because that's their money train. I mean, an unmarried man, generally speaking, okay, we'll talk about your typical man and then a woman has a child, okay? Men generally don't get equal rights when it comes to children, okay?
Mm-hmm.
A man can go out there and get a job, and a man is more willing to go out there and get a job as a single man, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But you still see that disparity, 39% to 45%. I mean, I would expect that number to grow even more as there's more unmarried men out there because I believe without that family structure, you start to stray away from the traditional values and you turn into a beta male.
Beta. Okay. Okay. I think you laid out your premise pretty well there, Snail. I guess my only objection would be to that is so I don't disagree that the government offer, a wide range of social programs that primarily women are benefiting from. However, my thing is I think it is the redefining of marriage. It's essentially de-incentivize women to really want to get married. And I think this notion has been promulgated since the early 60s, like I told you before, since the inception of the sexual movement, the advent of the abortion pill, as well as no fault divorce laws. So there's no real meaning being imbued into marriage. It's being totally redefined as a private arrangement between two people that's not considered a social institution. And remember, social institutions, excuse me, family is a fundamental building block of a community which aligns with social interests. Correct?
I agree.
Okay. So 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 what do you disagree with what I said thus far?
I agree with what you said. I think our disagreement comes from what that stems from. I think that stems from a disparity in wages.
Hmm.
And I believe while I agree that the sexual revolution and birth control led to more women potentially getting into the workforce, okay, there was also different technologies that came out that made it easier to do household chores,
Hmm.
which meant that I mean, even the adoption of the public school system, I mean, you didn't need to be at home all the time, okay?
Hmm.
But the reason I think that's part of it, like why women got into the workforce, why they became a primary provider along with the man, I think comes down to a wage disparity. I mean, if you look at the median wage, okay, and if I can share my screen here,
Oh, go
um,
ahead. Go ahead.
okay, so let's see, present.
Hurry up, Snell. I'm
I'm,
turning 75 years old over here, man.
all right, you got to accept it.
Accept it. Oh yeah.
Yep.
All right.
All right. So if you look at 1978, the poverty level was 6,662, and the average income
Sheesh.
was 16,060. Okay,
Wow.
so that means
That's
the
the
average
average.
income was 240% over the poverty level. Okay, it's
Mm-hmm.
1978. Now look at 2022. All right,
Mm-hmm.
the average income is now 156% of the poverty level.
Mm.
The average income of Americans is going down. It's going down. So it's forcing women that, let's say, would have gone into the workforce and worked 15 hours a week because their child is now at school and they get everything clean and they're able to do all their womanly duties, and due to technology, they're just able to have more time in their hands. Okay.
Right.
They're having to work more and more and more. And that's
Mm-hmm.
because, I mean, twofold, the disparity between your very richest people, your billionaires and your CEOs, their income has increased significantly more percentage wise
Yeah.
than the frontline worker. And the second piece is the government wants to tax, they want more money to tax people. It
Yep.
ultimately lines their pockets, and it goes to their hidden agendas. Now, the second piece that I want to bring you to right here is, let's just take a look at 1978. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so the biggest push for women into the workforce was in the late 60s. Okay, but
Mm-hmm.
you can see in the black right here is traditional earner families where there's only one income, and then in the white, okay, is a dual income family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you look at the average wage, okay, which is right about here,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and we can look right here. Let's just preface 16,000, okay? We're looking at just above this 14,000 mark. As the single earner starts to earn more money, women are less likely to get in the workforce. Your
Mm.
dual earner families start to drop off once the wage disparity uh, that gap starts to narrow in
Yeah.
between individual earners and the highest earning population.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at it from this perspective, I believe that
Okay, Snell,
the
but
main
hold up, man.
reason,
Hold up, Snell. Why are women choosing to go into the labor force in the first place? Now, I get what you're saying. There's an
because
undergirding of a
disparity of wages, they had to stay above the poverty line.
okay, but okay, what came first, the chicken or the egg is the question. Did the disparity of wages catalyze more women to have to get out there and get into the workforce, or women chose to not get married and partner up with a man?
I don't think it was a choice. I believe it all started in the 1940s when World War II happened, and there was no other choice other than women getting into the workforce because all the men were over fighting seas. And once the government realized that they can get women in the workforce because they had no other choice, and they started bringing
Mhm.
in all these other tax dollars. Now remember, before World War II, the United States military was ranked 19th under Argentina. Okay,
Mhm.
so the fact that we got our military up to number one and produced 50,000 planes in a year, okay, that money had to come from somewhere. And where do you think Rosie the Riveter came from when she did her
Mhm.
thing? She was riveting those planes. They were producing planes and stuff for the military. Then the government got greedy and they said, okay, let's make it to where women can get in the workforce because we can increase our production, tax them, okay, make ultimately have people make less money, but
But
because we
Snell,
have
come
dual
on. There
income
has to be,
families,
but Snell, there has to be some societal implications that come along with this, man. And me, in part, I think government has had a role in redefining the the definition of marriage. And I think
oh,
because of that
100%.
change, because of the redefining of marriage, which is family essentially, has occurred, it now
Mhm.
opens and broadens that that notion of marriage to everyone, to include everyone: gay marriage, homosexual, you know, it's getting kind of wild out there. But the point is, what I'm saying is, once family is not deemed as a social institution anymore, and it's not about having the values and the principles that undergird the family, it's going to be now perceived as just a group of people who are just living together in consenting relationships. You know, and as I said before, marriage is a fundamental basis of society. Now, what is happening now that you see, where they're pushing the notion, where they're pushing this narrative that women need to get out there, they need to work 100
Okay, so
billable hours for some law firm, and you know, in their late 40s, you know, take a trip to
let's back
Hawaii
up to
and
your
sip wine. Go
what you
ahead.
just said. You said they're trying to restructure the family narrative to where it's just like people in a house, they can kind of come and go as they want and do what they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you have that, you don't have any financial what would be the word? Companionship as well. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
When you don't have the financial companionship like you would with a marriage as well, okay? Each person is out for their own. There's his money and there's her money. And that's not how it should be. In a
Mm-hmm.
traditional marriage, you have one family household and everything like that. They're pushing that narrative because if a man in that situation makes significantly more money, the woman's not going to feel financially secure because she's just in this loosey goosey type of relationship where it's kind of come and go, and she could be dropped at the drop of a hat. I mean, she could just be
Mm-hmm.
dropped. So they're promoting that type of lifestyle because they know that more women will get out there and work their lives away,
Mm-hmm.
choose not to have children,
I just
choose
look
to
at it
have
like this,
children.
but Snell, but family and social institutions were seen once upon a time. They were seen as the intermediary between um government, between, you know, family was like the foundational unit, right? And then you have church, you have your community as the intermediary, and then you have the government, the state, and then the federal government. Now that we've vitiated the value of getting married, totally got rid of it, eviscerated it, right? Now I think now more people are more incentivized to become more government dependent upon the government, right?
I
Do you agree?
agree, but I don't.
Hmm.
But I don't think it's a coincidence that a large majority of women entered the workforce, albeit they had to because of World War II. I mean, 1941 was Pearl Harbor. 1938 is when child labor laws came in. So the government lost all that tax money from child labor laws, where children couldn't work anymore, and they got all this. Ultimately, they wanted super cheap labor. They wanted cheap labor, people to get out there, do a monotonous job, and they can tax and they can make their money. Child
Right.
labor laws happened in 1938. Women started entering the workforce in like 1941, 1942, when World War II happened. Once that happened, the government was like, "Hey, we found a solution. We can make more tax dollars.
Yeah.
We can get more people
Yeah.
dependent.
Yep.
We can
Big
get more
business.
people dependent on the
Big
government
business. Yep. Yep. Go
because
ahead.
as these women have children that work 40 hours a week, where are they putting them? Okay, they're
Exactly.
putting them.
Yep.
A lot of people still homeschooled back in the 40s, in the 30s, in the 20s. Okay, they're allowing the government to raise their children.
So
If
look,
a
Snell, if you
woman
look at this,
works,
so go ahead, man. I'm sorry. And then I
if
want
a
you to check
woman
out this
works,
graph.
okay, she is less likely to stay with her man. She can
So,
do things on her own.
so if you look at this graph, man, if you look at this here, it's charting 144 years of marriage and divorce, right? If you can see right here, from just after the Civil War, 1860, marriage remained relatively stable
You got to
beneath
zoom in. I don't think you
10%.
can see it all the way.
You can't see it? Oh, wait.
It's hard to read.
Oh, that's the
There you
best I
go.
can do. Can you see it now?
Yep.
All right, so it remained relatively stable, just beneath the 10% mark. So right here, 1920. Here's this the first war, the Great Depression. Here, there was
Wait, is
this
that World War One or World War Two?
this is war world
Oh, World War
war.
One. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
World War. Yep.
Mhm.
And then just after that, you see right here after the Great Depression, there was a spike, and I think that was in part because people were like, "Oh man, you know, we just got out. Excuse me, we got out of a war. We need to hurry up
I
and get
can tell you
married."
exact. I can tell you exactly why there was a spike.
Oh, go ahead.
Like I said,
Educate me,
you had a
Snail.
bunch of
Enlighten
women.
me.
They had a bunch of women that were working during World War II because men were off at war. Men come back, want the traditional structure. Women have this freedom and this money, and they're
Hmm.
not. And here's the thing: they're not seeing the long term effect of what that does to the family structure and everything like that. They're saying, "I want to continue working. I don't
Hmm.
want to quit working. I want
Yep.
to. I want to work." So then all these men come back from war. They're trying to get their jobs back, and women are saying, "No way. We want to do this because we have all this freedom and everything like that,"
Hmm.
not knowing the repercussions later down the line when they
Right.
raise their children and everything like that. So that's
Exactly.
why this
That's
is
that's
happening.
that's
They're
what I'm
coming back
saying.
from
That's what I'm saying.
yep.
What happened? What happened socially to where women transmuted the value of being a mother and a caretaker of their home, of their husband and their children to now it's become very, I don't know, it's become the height of womanhood to now work at a job for the rest of your life. How did that transition occur? Now look, real quick before you answer that, look at here, right after around the 1980s, you see where this dip starts to occur. The slow rolling death of the Western civilization through marriage, right here. You guys are looking at it right here. Look at it. And this is 2010 too. It's even worse. It's even it's precipitously more lower than that. But go
Okay.
ahead, Snell. Answer that question.
Okay. So I don't think it's a coincidence that World War II ended in 1945 and then the enactment of child support laws happened in 1950.
Ooh.
That's what I'm saying. It comes down to money. I mean, look at the Great Depression. When everybody was poor and there was a big global event, okay, you had divorce rates that were significantly lower because there wasn't jobs.
Mm-hmm.
You had to go out there and fend for yourself. A lot of people had to grow their own crops, they had to grow their own vegetables, do all this other nonsense ultimately just to survive. And you
Mm-hmm.
needed the family structure to do that. You're not if you're poor and you can't find a job, you're not leaving in any case, whether you're a man or a woman, you're not going to leave your partner if you're poor and there's no job to go get. It's just not going to happen. What woman's going to leave their man when they're like, okay, I'm going to be out on the streets homeless? Nobody. So that's why when World War II ended and they had a bunch of people that were wanting to get a divorce, the government said, okay, we don't want all these men to get their jobs back and have all these women on the street.
Yeah.
We want to give them child support where they can still continue to be independent, get a divorce, and then they can eventually end back in the labor force. Look,
Okay, so check this out. So according to Pew Research, young adults are particularly accepting of cohabitation. That's what I mean by redefining marriage too. It's this notion of why get married when you can just cohabitate. Now, historically, that was seen as, it was perceived as living in sin, you know, and it was not just morally wrong to shack up with someone because it's bad for the kids, but also it was perceived as a sin against the person you were shacking up with. So, but I think now we got more of an acceptance of this cohabitation idea, and it shows it right here. 78% of those 18 to 29 years old say it's acceptable for an unmarried couple to live together, even if they don't plan on getting married. But the majorities across the groups share this view as well. Let me hear your opinion on that, and I'm gonna scroll down here because there's something else I want to show you too.
well, there's a psychological effect. Like it stems from just wanting to sleep around. Okay. And even people that say, oh, I don't want to sleep around, I just want to be with this one person. Well, if that was the case, then you would get married. And the number one argument that I hear, and this is just from my experiences, the number one reason I hear why people don't want to get married in certain instances are, well, it gets complicated if we ever want to get a divorce. Well, if you're already
Hmm.
thinking about a divorce, then how can you sit there and say that you want to be with this person for the rest of your life, whether you're married or not? I think
Right.
it's a commitment issue between a lot of people. And these people that end up sleeping around, I mean, you're talking about 18 to 29, okay? These people are shacking up, they're sleeping around, even if it's one person a year, okay?
Hmm.
It's screwing them mentally I mean, there's a
Yep.
lot of studies out there that talk about the detachment that you get from emotion from sleeping
Hmm.
with a bunch of different partners. That's
Right.
supposed to be one of the most emotional and bonding experiences you can have.
Look at
And when
this
you do
now.
that with a bunch of people, you end up with a situation like this.
Look at this, man. Look at this. Look at this. So it's even seeped into the religious sphere, man. So look at this. There are also differences amongst Catholics. 73% of Hispanic Catholics, compared with 48% of Catholics, say cohabiting and married couples can raise children equally well. It's hold up, like
They're
this is
probably just saying that to avoid an argument.
well, that's the
No
thing.
true
Yeah,
Catholic's going to say that.
okay, well, that's true. I definitely believe that there's some credence to that, because I think a lot of people today are so afraid of saying marriage is good. It is a net good, because they are fear they fear being labeled as judgmental.
But see, okay, the that's another issue with, and we can get into this on another discussion. But there's nothing wrong with having an opinion, okay? And people label any type of opinion as being judgmental, okay? I'm not there to judge you. God can judge you, okay? I'm not there to judge you. What I am there to do is say here's what the data suggests, and there are certain characteristics and certain decision making skills that I think people lack because they don't see the long term effect that it has.
Hmm.
Just as the women didn't see, really the women and the men, I guess you can say,
Yep.
but mainly the women in 19, um, what was it, 50 or whatever, when that graph spiked.
Right.
Um, the, they didn't see the long term effect that it had on the children. So they can sit there and call you judgmental all day long, but it's really an opinion based by fact and data.
So notwithstanding the financial aspects that you forementioned, there's also this idea that married women tend to vote more conservatively as opposed to their counterparts, unmarried women. The subgroup of women who tend to get married tend to be more conservative, as I said. And let me see.
I don't think you can detach it from the finance because I'm
Well,
gonna give you I'll give you an example with abortion, okay? And I'm not saying that this is every woman that votes Democrat, but I can tell you one thing. Generally speaking, I would say that married women feel more comfortable having a baby they did not plan than unmarried women. And that's why unmarried women generally vote for abortion because if me and my wife Megan got if she got pregnant and we do not want another child, I mean, like, if anybody doesn't want another child, it's me and her. We're good. We have one, we're good. We're done. But we both agree that if she was to get pregnant, we're having another child.
mhm.
And I'm just gonna lose a lot of time out of my life. But it's whatever.
So you
But
don't. So Snell. So let me ask you. So you don't see that there's sort of a concerted attack that's being waged against marriage, just in general, generally speaking. Like there's this narrative that's promulgated now that marriage is just another, I don't know, just another bucket list item. It's just it doesn't have, it's almost as casual as going to dinner, going on
so
a lunch date with a friend. It's not, it doesn't have the meaning that it once had, as a, as most people historically perceive marriage as just as being a social institution. You get married in front of your friends and family, you sign a public document. um
I
do you
agree. I
okay.
agree, but I feel like it's getting attacked from both sides. And one is, I think, straight the financial side. Like I said to you before, if you got rid of welfare and got rid of child support, okay? Now I'm not saying every marriage is perfect, but I can tell you one thing, there's a lot of marriages that end because they're not willing to work through things. And if you ended child support and
No
you ended
fault
welfare,
divorce.
there what?
I said no fault divorce,
Oh, yeah, okay,
irreconcilable
okay.
differences.
But what I'm saying is if you ended welfare and child support, you would have a lot. less divorces. That's the first thing. I really think it does come down to a money
We gotta
thing.
change, but Snell, we gotta change the laws too in regards to no fault divorce, because that's
Okay,
basically saying you can end your marriage on virtually no grounds. You can just because you
if
just
you okay,
don't you're not
but if
happy.
you
Marriage
end
isn't about happy. It's not about happiness. It's about duty and honor to your family and to your community and society at large.
well, okay, but with that, and with you both seeking peace, you will also find happiness. So they kind of all
Yeah,
come
true.
together because if
Right,
you
right,
don't
right,
have
right.
all that, you're going to be unhappy. And I think that does play a part into it 100%. But even if you kept irreconcilable differences as a divorce reason, and you said, okay, you want to get divorced with your husband because of unreconcilable differences, but you're
Hmm.
not going to get welfare or child support, they're gonna be rethinking that they want to get a divorce for unreconcilable differences.
Hmm.
So that's the first thing. The second piece that I think you're getting especially more nowadays is it comes from the LGBTQ community
There you
and the
go.
people that support that community. They want to be included, and there's no way that they can be included in marriage because
Mm.
marriage is between a man and a woman. They tried changing the definition, didn't work for them. Gays can get married, didn't work for them. The suicide rate and the mental health rate in the LGBTQ community is still on the rise. And they're trying to blame it on the traditional views that we are imposing on their own views, and that's not the
Yep.
case.
So I think that yeah, I think the Democrats are very, very aware of this new emerging voter bloc. I think they're excuse me, very well. And I got further proof, but I wanted to show you this clip here of Joe Biden. And Joe Biden, as senile as we all may perceive him to be, I think Joe Biden might be, he may just be putting on. He may just be just giving us what we expect. But I'm telling you guys, he's very aware. I think Joe Biden is very attuned to what's happening right
No,
now in the
the
shift. And
Democratic Party is attuned to it and telling them what to
okay,
say.
well, you know what? I'm telling you right now, he at least knows the cliff notes. All right. So
Mm,
all right,
yeah, I
hold
don't
up. Let
know.
me. Gee, okay, I'm giving them too.
He's messed up the cliff notes plenty enough times. So.
I'm giving them too much credit, huh, Snell?
Hmm.
All right, so let me play this clip here, quick, really, really quick.
There's no sound.
Mm. But you guys saw that it wasn't. It was see. That's what I'm saying. He's not making a distinction. It was
Yeah, there was no
unmarried
sound.
women. You didn't hear it?
No, there's no sound.
Oh man, really? Hold up. Let me see. That's weird.
Are you
Uh,
sharing your screen? How are you
yeah.
sharing?
Are you seeing? Can you see it?
No, not right now. But are you sharing? Well, yeah, I can see it. Are you sharing a screen
Yeah, I am.
or are you sharing a video file?
Video file. That sucks. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Let me see. Let me see. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. We black.
Yeah, I mean, I really believe
Let me see.
wholeheartedly that I think the financial benefit that you receive, and I hate to say benefit because I don't think it benefits people in the long run,
Mm,
but the potential financial incentive for you to leave your husband or to not be in the single the nuclear family dynamic
mm-hmm.
is what really makes it easier for people. And I think it's a disservice to everybody by saying, okay, we're going to make it as easy as possible for you if you get a divorce for literally no reason at all.
Yep.
Okay. And it's difficult on everybody else because people that have the traditional family dynamic, their children see this, and because it's
America
become more
made the
acceptable in
rules.
society,
All right. Here it
it's
goes. I'm
harder
sorry.
to it's harder to parent
All right, here we
from
go.
that perspective.
So here's our senile president here, guys, the doddering old fool. And you're going to hear him say, basically congratulate the unmarried women for showing up in droves to push them over the win. So here we go.
As I said, women in America made their voices heard, man. I said last year that one of the most extraordinary things about the Dobbs decision is what was about to challenge American women when the justice said, let's see, they have it in their power, basically saying, let's see what they're going to do. Well, guess what? Y'all showed up and beat the hell out of them.
There he is. I'm telling you, Joe Biden knows. He knows what's going on. Okay.
I mean, he
Okay.
stumbled over a few words when he said that, so he was reading. I don't think he knows, but the Democratic Party knows, and I think that's the point.
Be kind, Snail. Be kind. That's your president, man.
I'm being realistic. Look, I get it. I get it. I live in America, and he's the president. I didn't vote for him, but hey,
I didn't vote for him either. But let's touch on a little bit more on the abortion aspect too of all this, Snail. So abortion, in my view, has been it's the way it's being. How can I say this? The way it's being pushed onto women today seems to me as if it's like a fail safe. Hey, look, you can go out there and be as promiscuous as you want, sleep with every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and if you happen to get a child, you shouldn't be punished by that. Punished by your biology. You should be able to have an abortion. And I think that the Roe v. Wade decision has really galvanized women in part to get out there and vote for the Democrats as well. Do you agree with that?
I agree. I think Roe v. Wade, as much as I disagree with abortion, I mean, I think Roe v. Wade was the one that screwed the red wave.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, if Roe v. Wade would have still been a constitutional, um, um, written in the Constitution, or constitutional according to the Supreme Court, then you wouldn't have had all these decisions based on Roe v. Wade.
So because marriage is losing its traditional value, and it's becoming more and more and more just a secondary priority in life. People don't really feel the necessity to have to prioritize family and children anymore, because you can get out there and have fun, and if you decide to have a kid, sure. If not, just go kill the kid, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, look, it follows the same timeline. You're talking about Roe v. Wade, 1973. I mean, shortly after they had, I mean, it was just one thing after another when it came to any type of legislation that said, okay, you don't have to be married. And they didn't come out and say you shouldn't be married, but they said if you don't want to be married, we'll make it a lot easier for you. And I mean, this is just
Yeah.
another step in that direction. I mean,
Remember,
when somebody says, we'll give you money for being poor, we'll give you
sorry
money.
about that. Turn that down. Sorry about that.
We'll give you
Go
money
ahead.
for being poor. We'll give you money if you get a divorce.
Yep.
We'll
Government
give you money if
dependence.
you get divorced with kids, because you got spousal support and child support.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
And if you get pregnant outside of the marriage, or when you're not married and don't want that responsibility, we'll give you an out there too. It's about giving people an out.
Giving people an out. Again, it's a failsafe. So remember, I don't know if you recall when Obama famously said that he didn't want his daughter, if she made a mistake, he didn't want his daughter to end up saddled with a child, or punished with a baby. I just want to play this clip, guys, for your edification. Just in case you guys are reconsidering leaving the conservative platform and starting to have a heart for the Democrats. Here we go. This is.
I've got two daughters, 9 years old and 6 years old.
Full screen it.
If they make a mistake, I don't want them punished with a baby.
My fiance and I want to have children one day.
You guys heard that? Let me run it back, just so you hear.
I've got two daughters, 9 years old and 6 years old. If they make a mistake, I don't want them punished with a baby.
I don't want them punished with a baby. So, baby having children now is considered a punishment as opposed to as a goal in life. It's a beautiful thing. Isn't that the first thing a mother says to a child? He or she is beautiful, but no, they want it to be family, husband, children, rearing of children. They want that to be considered a punishment. Oh,
Or they want to make us a weaker. The Democrats want to make us a weaker American people because
yep.
if we're weaker, we need to have more reliance on the government. And when we have more reliance on the government, then they could push their socialist agendas and everything like that. I mean, like I said, it comes down to money. Okay, it comes down to money because if we can support ourselves without the government, okay. Now, what comes to supporting ourselves outside the government is a nuclear family. Okay, having goals and having good psychological processes that we do within our family, not just being some um, terrible person and saying, "Oh, we're just going to live in the same house and everything like that." Like having the traditional family values and goals. Okay, and unfortunately, the government has consistently tried to give us okay, to stray away from that ideology,
There he goes.
and it's working. You see people that are put into a tough spot. I honestly I relate it back to suicide. Why do people commit suicide? Because they feel like ending their life is easier than dealing with something difficult. It's the same thing with marriage. Why do people leave a marriage? Because they feel like the other option, which the government has made more enticing, is easier than trying to work through their issues.
Hmm. So, speaking now, this is where I have to tend to agree. I definitely see that's what I'm saying now. I don't think we really disagree. I think we're just coming at this from two different vantage points. So I do see there is a financial element in all this that would factor into women, having to go out into the workforce and may perceive marriage as a hindrance because they're like, hey, I gotta look. One thing I know about women is women are security seeking creatures, so they have to go out there and establish their own security. And if they bought into the lie that they should, work, go to school, obtain master's degree, doctrines, and all these things, and then get out and provide for themselves, they in essence solidify their own security. So right here, unpartnered adults. It shows unadult. Golly, what is happening with my words tonight? Unpartnered adults are not faring as well as partnered peers on a range of outcomes. So adults ages 25 to 54 completed at least a bachelor's. This is according to Pew Research, by the way. So unpartnered adults. This is the disparity between unpartnered adults. You got 29% and 41% of people who have their bachelor's degree and economic outcomes. So the median earnings of those who are unpartnered is 35,000, and the median for those who are partnered is 49,000. So you see that disparity right there too.
Yeah, but do you know why that is?
Uh, Shed some light to me, friend.
Because if you are well off, or I say well off, I mean 49,000 a year isn't well off, but if you're making more money, you're more likely to find a mate. So even in this current society, subconsciously, women are looking for somebody with stability. The reason 29 wait, keep that up.
Oh, sorry.
The reason why 29%, that top line right there, once it pops up.
There it is. There it is.
So the reason 29% of people with a bachelor's degree um, are unpartnered when it comes to like the median earnings, 35%, is because they're having a harder time finding a partner. We all know that if you're financially stable, your chances of finding somebody go up drastically.
Mhm.
So you can even see
Well, I
subconsciously.
don't know about
So
that, Snell. That's see,
that
socioeconomically,
is
men,
true.
but socioeconomically, men historically don't have a problem with dating down and marrying a woman who
I'm not
doesn't
talking
make.
about that. I'm talking about women to men.
Okay, women to men, but the thing about women is women are hypergamous. So typically, women marry what I think it's last stats I saw was they married at least 26% above what they bring in financially.
Okay, that's why people that make more money generally have a partner.
But but if you look at the stats in the universities, women are outpacing men. Men are drastically pulling away from college
Yeah,
today.
but you just said it doesn't affect men getting with women from a financial perspective.
Okay,
It
but
more
again,
affects
how
women
many?
getting.
What is the percentage of these guys making that kind of money? The average income for black men at least is 41,000. For white men is 51,000. Now, uh,
Okay,
if
so what I'm saying is the people that make a median of 49,000, okay, the reason they're partnered is because the $35,000 a year people can't find a mate.
right,
Because it goes back to our biology of if you're a woman, you want somebody to be able to take care of you. That's
you
just
want
how it
someone
is.
exactly,
So you're not
and
going for the $35,000 a year person because you're
mhm,
damn near at the poverty rate.
yeah,
Poverty line right now, $26,000. So you got
hmm.
poverty beat by $8,500
Oh shoot, let me
at
make sure
$35,000. That ain't shit.
watch the language now.
It's true.
So let's talk about this here. So it sounds like to me you're describing the two income trap. Well, not now, but what you described earlier was the two income trap. It's when you have to when married women and married men are caught in the trap of having to work to bring in two incomes because of the current economy, right? They have to afford it
Mhm,
because that's where
mhm.
we are in our society now. You have to bring in two parent house. Excuse me. You have to bring in uh two separate incomes. So where does that leave single women?
I mean, so let's go back to what you originally said, and I'll kind of play that into today's society. So look at where we're at with a worker shortage. Okay, there's a staffing shortage across America.
Yeah,
So
it's
what
bad.
happens is employers have to pay more money for staff because there's a shortage. Correct?
Yep.
Okay. Late 1940s after World War II, you had an abundance of staff. Women were now wanting to work, and you had all these men coming back from the military that wanted to work. So the reverse happens. So
Right.
they're like, oh, we can pay people really cheap. Okay. So then keeping them single women at this point, we're talking about 1948-ish, when you
All the single ladies.
yeah, right. When you showed that chart and you have all these divorces, you end up with an influx of single women that need to work. Yeah, they're getting unemployment and stuff like that, or not unemployment, they're getting welfare. But I mean, even the welfare system makes you like try and look for a job. Okay,
Hmm.
people question. I mean, how many people are actually looking for a job? But anyway, you have all these single women that was an influx into the economy. Okay, and now you have that many more workers. If you took every woman out of the workforce, or exactly the two income trap, but I was the two incomes. Oh yeah, married but single. Okay. So if you took all the women out of the workforce, and let's say you had this society where you say, okay, only men could work, okay, you would then see two family incomes transition to one family income, but you'd have the same dollar amount because
Mm.
there wouldn't be enough staff out there. So what
Hmm.
you would have is two families making 60,000, you would or two incomes being 60,000, you would end up with one income being 60,000
I
because in
know.
order for
So
them to get
now we
workers.
have a higher labor force participation rate.
Correct.
Correct. Correct. But what I think is unbeknownst to a lot of people is that hey, married households have a higher income threshold than single women.
That's because people that make more money generally get married quicker than people that don't. You're
When you
going to
say
tell me that
when you
women
say
don't
more
generally
money,
go
okay,
for somebody that's more financially stable?
that's what they want, but you gotta remember, Snell, men, we value different traits.
We do.
So we don't look for a woman to bring in some sort of financial, component to the household. We look for for other traits in women. We don't seek security in women.
And you would say people that look strictly for financial benefit are probably considered like beta males and are not logical
Yeah,
thinkers, correct?
absolutely. And
Okay.
those relationships are suboptimal.
Okay, so then you would say beta males that don't necessarily think logically probably make less money, right?
Sure.
Okay. So we can also say beta males who don't generally think logically that make less money probably have a hard time finding a mate, correct?
Beta males, yeah, they do. They
Harder
are.
time finding it.
They are
Okay,
having a
so that
harder
goes to
time.
my point. The $35,000 income a year,
But that
they
doesn't
have a harder
negate.
time finding a mate. That's why
But
they're
Snell,
uncommon.
that doesn't negate. That doesn't negate what I said though. Typically, men who are earning at that income threshold, they are not looking for like career driven, high powered attorneys. They're not seeking those type of women because those type of women come with a set of undesirable traits, such as they're assertive, they're non cooperative, they're not willing to submit.
I mean, I
These
think
type of women
people
are.
at that level are looking for women that work just in general. I mean, I don't think they can get an attorney as a wife, but I think they
You
are
think
looking for women
hold
that
on.
are
So you're
working.
saying you're saying that a man who makes let's just say $100,000 a year is looking for a woman to
Wait,
work.
no, I said a man that's making $35,000 a year
Oh,
compared
we're
to a
still
man that's
talking about
making
the
49,000.
so we're still talking about the beta males. I didn't know we were talking about the beta males.
I'm just saying that as a man
No,
makes
women don't
a
want
lot
those
less
guys.
money.
They don't want the men that make less money. Don't you understand? They are
Exactly.
seeking
That's
there.
why they're unpartnered at 35,000 and partnered at 49.
There you go. He said 49,000. Well, okay,
I'm just using the numbers that you got on the screen.
but in mass, on average, marriage rates are declining. They have been declining. So it's not a
Yeah.
vast swath of women lining up to marry a guy who averages $51,000 a year.
That's because less and less people. So okay, that 49,000 number that you have, okay, might go up to 50,000 in 5 years, whereas inflation might make the poverty rate go from 22 or 25 to like 35. So the problem is with this disparity in incomes with
Mhm.
these, whether it be partnered men or unpartnered men, is
Mhm.
driving more women to the workforce. Now, when it comes to marriage, okay, from a woman's eyes, and I mean generally what the data shows is you're going to end up with more poor men. You're going to end up with more poor men.
No,
Therefore,
well, that's the thing. But the thing about poor men is they are not living at the expense of the government dole. They are not the ones getting and receiving all of
they are not.
they're
But when you
not.
have a woman working full time in order to support her current family, okay, you can't live in the correct family dynamic.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with
So
that.
that goes to your previous point of where you have these just live-ins and you have these different scenarios where people are just kind of living together
Mhm.
because they're getting screwed by the government.
So this is how I know that the Democrats, they're fully aware about their new base, which is single women. This is how I know that they are very, very aware of what's happening right now. So there was this a story that came out. Well, I forgot which news medium I got this from, but you guys can type this up in Google. You can find it. It's called "The Life of Linda." This is the ideal voter the Democrats are seeking for. And just tell me, what do you see that's wrong about this story? I'm gonna read it start to finish. Hold up. So Linda is a working mother in Peoria, Illinois. She works at a local manufacturing facility as a production worker and earns $40,000 per year. She is pregnant with her son. Okay. Can we spot anything wrong with that already?
Wait, go back to that picture.
Oh, come on, Snail. Is there anything
She's
wrong with
probably her
this
hair
picture?
tied up. If she's working in like an industrial setting.
Oh gosh,
She's
Snail,
probably
come
put her
on,
hair
man.
up
That's not what I'm
so that's
talking
what
about.
you think.
All right, let's give Snail a courtesy slap. Snail, that's not what I'm talking about, man.
I know. Go to your next picture.
Okay, but no, can we find the weak link in this first photo here? I'm gonna read it again. Linda is a working mother in Peoria, Illinois. She works at a local manufacturing facility as a production worker and earns $40,000 a year. She is pregnant with her son Leo.
She's pregnant and working.
Okay, where's the dad?
Well, yeah, they're not going to talk about the dad.
Okay, well, let's continue.
This is Democrat.
So once Leo is born, Linda begins to receive a child's tax credit of $300 per month, $3,600 annually to help cover her essential costs like groceries, rent, and medicine.
Which is money that she would normally be getting back at the end of the year that she's not going to get back now because they try to frame this as some child tax. Oh, you'll get this money. She'd have been getting that money anyway at the end of the year.
But the problem is now this is all government subsidies right here.
Exactly.
Yep. So let's move on. As Leo grows up, the government helps cover the cost of his daycare, guaranteeing that Linda.
Me and you help cover the cost.
Well, yeah, the taxpayers, absolutely. Okay, so right, let me start that over. So as Leo grows up, the government helps cover the cost. Excuse me, the taxpayer helps cover the cost for his daycare, guaranteeing that Linda doesn't need to pay more than 7% of her income on childcare. Wow. Hold up. When Leo turns 3, he attends high quality pre-K program for free. Wow.
Wait.
Is it really for free?
So everybody there is working for free as a charity? And they built the building for free as a charity?
All right, Snell, come on. Let's not be facetious here, man.
I mean, it says free. I want to get some of those workers help me with my yard work.
When Leo leaves high school, he's able to enroll in community college thanks to an extended Pell Grant and investments in community college.
Okay, so I'm going to stop everybody. Neil, do you know what a Pell Grant is?
Go ahead and enlighten us now.
A Pell Grant is a grant that the government gives people for being poor.
You said what?
It is. It's a college grant that the government gives people for being poor.
Exactly. This is the voter block that I'm talking about, guys. This is what I'm talking about. This is what the Democrats want to mold Americans. This is how they want to mold the average American. They want our women to be out there in the workforce, pregnant, and worst case scenario, if you happen to have a slip up, you don't want to get punished by having a baby, go abort it. Well, don't worry, it's paid for.
Look at what happens to the offspring. They are now dependent on the government.
Thank you. So already Leo is already receiving government help.
So let's see. Help before he was even born, when she was getting
yeah, exactly. So basically, when I asked the initial question, where was Dad? Dad's been there all along. Daddy Joe Biden has been there all along, man.
What's the last picture?
This is the last picture here. So thanks to his community college training, Leo lands a good paying job, union job, as a wind turbine technician. Go green. That's the Green New Deal, right? AOC promoted. Leo's job is one of 4 million new jobs a year that's supported by President Biden's economic plan. Check that out.
Man, isn't that great?
There you go, guys. This is the voter block. This is the new voter block right here. This is a new phenomenon, guys. This has not happened all throughout history. Why do we have 68% of unwed women voting for Democrats? It's because marriage has pretty much been thrown by the wayside. Children, they're perceived as a punishment, right? And marriage has been on a steady decline since 1980. It's clearly a setup. Thank you. It's clearly a setup. And this is what they're trying to usher into society. And that's what I'm saying. Look, people need to wake up. They need to understand what's happening and don't buy into this lie. Don't buy into the lie.
Yeah,
hold up. I gotta play the hold up. Oh God, I gotta get better on. I gotta be more on point with my Here we go. Don't buy into the lie, guys. Don't enter into the Twilight Zone.
Oh, too many people have already drank the Kool-Aid on the Twilight
They drink
Zone.
the Kool-Aid, Snail. Come on, man.
You got to remember all this stuff that was happening for the last 50 years. Every generation after that was born from a family that was affected by all these government subsidies and divorces and everything like that. They're just worse off. And then their kids are worse than them. And then their kids are worse than them.
Yep.
I mean, it's a snowball effect. And you got other people that are like, you're telling me that my 5-year-old can now change his sex, and
that's what I'm saying.
Don't even agree with gay marriage yet.
This is why, but like I said, as this new voter block emerges, we're going to see more radical policies being pushed forward. Because as long as single women are voting for the Democrats, that's enough. That's all they need. They don't need to be relying upon the black vote, the Hispanic vote. They got everything they need, because as long as they can push out this feminist notion that women should totally divorce themselves from marriage and family, and that everything's going to be fine.
You've had a lot of Hispanics kind of turning Republican is because they do cherish the traditional family values quite a bit.
Yeah, but you just saw what I read there about the Catholic Hispanics, that they're 70% in favor of cohabitation. Cohabitation isn't good. That doesn't benefit society. Marriage has
do you think they really knew what they were signing up for? No, I think some of those studies that they get, especially when they're asking people, they're trying to get people to say, "Oh yeah, we agree with this," and then they push it on to everybody else that are just sheep following the herd.
The blind leading the blind, guys. That's what's happening. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to talk about this tonight because I need to bring everyone to the awareness, to the understanding that there's a concerted effort to undermine the social fabric of our society right now, which I believe is fundamentally it's marriage. I believe as long as we continue to expand the definition of marriage to include everything from marrying the same sex to potentially marrying, young children or marrying your pet or some stuff, as long as we can continue to widen that, and it's going to lose its value, because again, society has a vested interest in a man and a woman getting together, getting married, having children. Society has a vested interest in that, right? And so does a family. But what do you want me to say? Last final thoughts now before we wrap it up, man.
Well, like I said, the only way you're gonna have any of this solved in a grand scheme of things, the pipe dream is that the government stops incentivizing people to get divorced, but that's not going to happen.
Nah.
You're going to have some economic event, as you saw in your chart when the Great Depression happened. People were like, "Okay, we can't get divorced right now." Kind of proves my point right there. You're going to have some economic event that happens where you're not going to have a choice to get a divorce. You can't get a divorce. And all these people that got a divorce or that are choosing to be single and everything like that are going to marry up, and they're going to realize that they made a huge fucking mistake.
Yeah. Marriage is important, ladies and gentlemen. It's vitally important. It is much, much more important than, sipping pina coladas on a beach somewhere. And,
I don't know. I think sipping pina coladas on a beach somewhere sounds
Snell, just come closer to the screen real quick, man. Just come closer, man. It's gonna give you a little touch. Anyway, Snell just had to end with a little sarcasm there, but it's all good, man. I appreciate you coming on, Snell. Guys, you already know how we end this. We are speaking truth, only truth and reality. You know how we do. I promise you. In time, we will reinstitute morality. Have a good night.